So I went shopping. I spent close to $900 just to build a greenhouse. As with the playhouse build, I also still had some materials here from previous work, and so I'll be using that. But the total cost would have been around $900 for materials. That's what I'm using for the greenhouse walls and roof. Can you see me? Tough Tex polycarb. I think it was around $23 a sheet, 26 inches by 8 feet. I just got a bunch because I wasn't sure exactly how many I would use. I think I picked up 24 or 26 of these. I texted Al Alumna about building a greenhouse because he and Gina both know a lot about them. So I said, what do you use for something that would allow the sun to penetrate through and be durable? And this was his suggestion. So that's, if it doesn't work, it's Al's fault. Make sure you mention it to him. This is going to be a fun project. This one's bundled in a bundle of 10. It sounds brittle, but it seems really strong. There. I may have mentioned the footprint of the building is going to be 8 feet by 6 feet. Floor plywood, 5/8 CDX. So I only needed one more sheet. My back is out, so I'm kind of moving a little gimpish. So I'll cover that load and should be good till I can get the stuff in there and get working on it. Well, I'm going to move the pressure treated material in. I'm going to start out building the skids that the greenhouse will go on. It'll be the same idea as the playhouse was. It had 2 4x4s for the base skid, and then a couple of cross members. Get all this moved in before I lose all my heat. It's not all that hot out today. It's going to be an 8x8 greenhouse. I was going to go 6x8, but that 2 extra feet in width is just really going to really help it. I already made the furnace come on. I'm hurrying. A lot of this lumber, the pressure treated, was from garage door cutouts at the bottom pressure treated. So these will be the floor joists. Boy, I picked through at the big box store for 4x4s. All they had left was maybe 20 or 30, and they were all warped, twisted. Okay, this is the last one. Shut the door. We'll get to building something. Just move my chop saw. I like having it on wheels. That's pretty handy. Okay. I think another building project will be to build a little more permanent, portable chop saw workstation. So these are the 4x4 bottoms that I'll be making a skid. Should lock the wheels in. I'm going to move it in a bit. I have this turned as far as it'll go, 60 degrees. So this will be exactly 8 feet, the footprint of the greenhouse itself. So You know, you ever get things running through you? I feel like I'm howling. Get things running through your head in the middle of the night. I slept about 3 hours last night just thinking about this greenhouse. It's going to be innovative for me. Hopefully it's a really good plan for venting, just the general construction of it to make sure that I plan everything ahead of time to allow, well, you'll see it as we go. Okay, here's one 4x4. We'll get the other. I'm estimating the weight of the greenhouse is going to be half of what the playhouse was. Maybe around 500 pounds, something like that. These spreader pieces are not, it's not critical. And plus, this is what I had for lumber. So I'm cutting them at 4 feet, 10 inches. That'll work pretty doggone good. Guy is eating a dog bone. So I've marked these. The playhouse one, I came out 12 inches back. I only went 10 this time. And I centered it, 1 3/4. Both of them, I've marked these all out. So now we'll drill this bad boy. So I've drilled these so that I can run those 3/4 inch eye bolts through there and then hook a chain on to drag it around. Let's turn this around. I call these self-sucking bits. I don't know why, but that's what they draw in with that little bit. So it just makes it real easy to go through. I love those kind of bits. Okay, holes drilled. Let's put it together. Move Kaya's bone. Probably use well, I'm going to mark it. I want to stay fairly close to the holes that I drilled, but I'm going to stay behind it so the chain isn't in the way. So I'll go a foot back. So I always put an X on the side where the lumber is going to be attached. I'm only doing 1 foot because, I don't know, seems like a nice measurement. 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot, and 1 foot. Weapon of choice shall be a framing gun. I don't know how the battery is. Got 2. Okay. Hopefully, this makes everything square when I nail it together. I will verify it. La 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 la. Okay. Anytime you build something like this, you always need to, this is going to be basically the foundation. So we want to make sure that it's perfectly square. That's exactly 116 inches. Oh, 116 and a 32nd. I'm going to go with that. Okay, so now it's time to cut the floor joists and we'll put those on. I'm going to do those 2 foot on center just because there's not a lot of load. It's not going to be a big weight bearing room, and I do want to try to keep the weight down. I've gone over this 100 times in videos. This is the perimeter joists that I'll be using. They're exactly 8 feet long. So I'm putting the floor joist 2 foot on center. So you'd come to 24 and hold back 3/4 of an inch, because that way it pulls the stud or the floor joist back so that 2 feet is dead center of the floor joist. So you do that, everyone, hold back 3/4 of an inch. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 floor joists. Also make sure they're both lined up, and then you can transfer the marks to both. That way you know they're exactly the same when you go to nail everything together. Put an X on the side that the floor joist goes on. Okay. When determining the length of the floor joist, you have to. We're going to be 8 feet wide, so we have to subtract the perimeter joist thickness, which on pressure treated, it's not a regular lumber is now is 1.5 inches. Pressure treated is just over it, so the two together equal about 3 1/8 inches. So you subtract that from the 8 feet, you have 7 foot and 1/8 under 9, so 7 foot, 8 and 7/8. I'm just cutting the last of the floor joists for the greenhouse. This is typical of pressure treated lumber. You'll see a lot of wane, is what they call it, where it's just missing. It's not a full round, full square edge, all 4 edges. So typically, you try to get the best of the wood. So I started from that end. It has good edges all the way around down here, and I've measured it to the 7 feet, 8 and 7/8 inch. And I'll cut that off, and it will eliminate 2/3 of the bad part of the wood. And another trick I'll show you over here. So I had showed you marking out the perimeter plates, perimeter joist, marking them 2 feet on center. Some pressure treated just seems to have a lot of wane. So typically I'll pick the best lumber for the outside that's exposed, and I'll put the wane part down so that the plywood is nailing to a good surface all the way across in case there's a joint where there's 2 sheets. This one's only having 1 all the way across, so it's not an issue. But you get a better nailing surface if you leave that down at the bottom. So I'm going to hide this one inside so you won't see it from outside. What are they? They call it smoke and mirrors. I heard an excavator guy say that once. That's what it's all about. Well, I'm not sure that's what it's all about, but sure. Oh, first day with my new feet. Just using this sort of as a framing table, I guess, to put it on there. Ooh, that's a good one. They don't have D-select pressure treated. Okay. All right, so I'll nail up this side, then I'll drag it over and nail the perimeter joist on this side. And again, when I nail, I keep this hand a minimum of 6 inches away from where I'm nailing, because if you never know if you're going to hit a knot or something like that. About 20 years ago, 25 years ago, the reason I do that, I was nailing some lumber and holding it, and it went through, it hit a knot in the wood right here, and it veered off and it went right through, the nail went through 2 fingers, nailed them right together. So I'm looking at it with blood dripping off. I ended up pulling that out with the hammer claw of my hammer. Went to the hospital. Didn't break any bone, so that was good. Valuable lesson. Excuse me, Dan. Okay, let's go kind of up to there. Framework is all nailed. Now I'll just pull it over. I'll get it spaced evenly on the skid, and then I'll nail it all together and also make sure it's squared up. Oh, that's within a 1/16. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay. I'm going to secure it just at one point. This will be the most critical part because you're squaring the entire building just like in a full-size building. So 135 3/4, 5/8. So I'm off a 1/16. I'll adjust that 1/16 and then nail it to the skid. Okay, everything is squared up. See how many times this thing misfires. Okay, had 4 or 5 misfires. I'll pull those nails, add nails, and then we're ready for plywood. If you remember, I showed how you hold back on the floor joists 3/4 of an inch, but the plywood, you put it exactly at the 2 foot marks. 2, 4, 6, and then 8 feet is the full sheet. Then I use a T-square. This plywood is warped a little bit. It'll flatten out. So 2 feet, 4 feet, and 6 feet. It'll be 2 sheets that I'm using, two full sheets. So we'll put those on the floor. So the frame is already squared, so that's not an issue. And I'm going with pneumatic. The battery framers, and I don't have any sheathing nails for the framer either, for the battery. And this is really a lot quicker. The first nail is super critical. Lining up this corner. Oh, I love a not misfiring gun. And I'll hit this corner. That looks good. Perfect. next step is going to be doing the walls. I'll put those 2 foot on center. I'm doing a mock-up here for you, just to show you how I'm going to do the waterproofing, so to speak, as we go up. So I'm going to come in. I'm going to do a mock-up of this for you. So we have the base plate, and if this is a stud, that'll sit there. Probably, maybe it won't balance. I don't know. I guess it's there. So there's a stud, 2 foot on center. I'm going to hold this in 3/4 of an inch. Basically, the thickness of a piece of strapping. The strapping is going to come out here, and I'm going to put that on every 2 feet going up. So that will sit there. I went out, used my metal brake, and bent some metal. You can see it right there. It has a 3/4 inch bend going straight down on the outside, coming back in 1.5 inches, and coming up 2 inches. So this will sit basically right on the floor, and it will come up against the plate and the stud. Then this will be nailed on, and it'll be up 1/4 of an inch off of here, so that water won't wick up onto this. So it'll be up off like that. And then the Tough Tex, I forget what it's called. It's a see-through plastic, basically, that's corrugated. It's 5/8 of an inch thick at the peak of the rib coming up there. I didn't cut a short piece for it, but you'll see it in the next video. So the ribs will go up and down vertically, and it will come flush to here. It will sit right on that. The idea is I want to keep any mice from coming in under that corrugation. In lieu of the metal that I bent here, you can use, I couldn't find any, but I think there's closure strips for those that you can buy. I had this, and I thought it would look pretty neat and tidy, so that's why I did that. So it sticks out just a little bit beyond the treated, so the drip will come down here. It won't hit the pressure treated. So that's what I'm going to do. That will be on the next video. Appreciate you watching. And really appreciate all you folks tagging along with this mode of construction, kind of a DIY setup. Thank you very much. There will be more. Thank you.